on a mission now.
So your mission is to revolutionise the slow, broken way that conveyancing is done when you buy a house.
Absolutely.
It takes too long.
If you go to possibly a small high street firm, you wouldn't get any replies immediately. There is no client care. Some of our clients even leave previous solicitors to ask for our help because previous solicitors would not agree
Yes.
to file
I've
a
had this.
zero SDLT return. Buying companies rather than properties.
Yes.
You need to still be careful because if you're buying a company, it's like a shopping bag. You're buying everything that comes with that company.
Yeah.
All the potential debts, liabilities, directors' loans, shareholders' loan, whatever have you. If you are serious about being in property, having a property business, you need your power team.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm sat here with Tatiana from RSL Law Firm, which is a pretty large law firm turning over millions of pounds with lots of members of staff. And I'm honoured to be sat with the founder and the CEO of RSL Law. And the topic of this discussion is going to be around stamp duty because there's a lot of changes that are going on with stamp duty and it's a little bit of a minefield as to how much people are going to have to pay. There is ways that you can get around stamp duty. But Tatiana, firstly, thank you for coming down and sitting down with me today. I appreciate your time.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me.
What did you think when they changed stamp duty and now have a standard 5% surcharge?
Yeah, the changes will mainly affect people who are buying additional properties. As I'm sure you know, if you buy additional property as a property investor or property entrepreneur, you will be paying a surcharge.
Yes.
Premium of 5%.
Which is a ridiculous amount. I mean, when I started out in property, if the house was less than 125 grand, which by the way, this was in 2009, most houses were less than 125 grand. The stamp duty was zero. So generally speaking, you were buying houses and you weren't paying any stamp duty. Now, if you're buying a house for the average house price, which is, even in Birmingham, you're probably talking to 250, 300 grand, you're going to be paying 15 grand or so in stamp duty, which... What even is stamp duty? Because they brought it in during the war, didn't they? To help during tough times with the view that, once the war's finished, we'll reverse it. But they didn't reverse it. They've just put it up in increments.
Yeah.
More and more and more and more. And it's getting to the point where it's a joke. So what actually even is stamp duty tax?
Stamp duty land tax is a tax on property. So when we buy a property, we are required to pay stamp duty, unless, of course, some reliefs apply.
Yes.
And there are ways, like you said, there are ways of minimizing stamp duty land tax. For example, if you buy commercial property, commercial or mixed-use property, the rates are much lower than the rates for residential properties.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, as property developers and property investors, we normally would buy second home and third home, and then where the surcharge will apply. So you will pay 5% on top of the normal residential rates if you're buying residential properties.
So how much stamp duty can people expect to pay then? So if you're buying a property for, say, £200,000, it's your second home, it's a buy-to-let, how much stamp duty can you expect to pay?
Well, it depends on the value of the property, and if
grand.
it's your if it's your second home, then you will be paying the 5% surcharge, unless you will replace your main residential home by selling the first property. So if you live in a residential home and you buy a second home, if you sell your first property, you are replacing your main residence.
Yeah.
You can claim the surcharge back.
Okay, so in other words, if I own a home, I buy a second home.
That's right.
But sell this first house, I can claim the stamp duty back.
If you sell it within 3 years, so you don't have to sell it straight away.
Right, so 3 years is quite a long time.
Yeah, if you sell it within 3 years, you can claim that you replaced your main residential home with your second property.
Yeah.
You will be able to claim the surcharge
So let me ask you a question then. If my strategy is to buy a house, do it up, sell it. Buy a house, do it up, sell it. And keep doing that, and I'm moving into these properties and just doing it up, so I'm making chunks of cash, you're saying I'll be exempt from all stamp duty?
Not from all stamp duty. You will still
the surcharge.
Yeah, the surcharge.
So how much stamp duty? But if it's less than 250 grand.
125 for residential.
Right.
0 stamp duty. You still need to file your return, but
Yeah.
you will pay 0 on first 125K.
So if it's 200 grand, I'll still pay a little bit of stamp
A
duty.
little bit of stamp duty on that balance.
Right.
So the first 125K, you will pay 0 stamp duty. The next 125K, you will pay 2%, and then it increases. The more
Right.
expensive the property is, the more you will pay in stamp duty.
But here's the thing. If you're buying houses that are run down, number one, they might be uninhabitable.
£1 million question. What is uninhabitable?
Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about that.
what-
So if you're buying a property that's uninhabitable, you have relief on stamp duty, right?
Well, you can actually avoid it altogether if it is uninhabitable. And you know what's interesting is with this, many buyers and many property developers, even seasoned property developers, if their solicitor saying, well, no, you have to pay stamp duty, they agree, they listen to their solicitor. Well, actually, stamp duty is self-assessed. So you as a client can tell the solicitor, no, my return should be 0 because I believe and I can prove that the property is uninhabitable.
Yeah.
And the solicitor should follow your instructions.
Right. So this is like a self-assessment for tax.
Correct.
If you're self-employed, you choose what tax you pay. Now,
Correct.
if you lie,
Well,
now they can come back
Absolutely.
and they can reclaim the money and maybe make you pay
and
interest.
penalties
So-
and interest.
Right.
That's right.
But as long as you're honest,
Yeah.
and if the solicitor's saying, no, you need to pay this stamp duty, really, the solicitor probably shouldn't say that.
Shouldn't say that. I mean, they do because
do.
obviously they don't want to accept the risk. But the key point, and I do discuss that with Academy members on mentoring calls very often, you can tell your solicitor that, no, the property is uninhabitable. If you have a surveyor's report, that would help a lot.
Yes.
I mean, you do need to take pictures, take photographs, have some kind of file to prove that the property is uninhabitable. But then, of course, the question is, like you've just said, what is uninhabitable? If I temporarily remove a bathroom or a boiler or a kitchen, or there is no running water in the house, is it uninhabitable?
Well, on the government website, there is a very clear
Guidelines.
I say very clear. It is still subjective, but there are guidelines.
Guidelines.
So where can these guidelines be found?
Gov.uk.
Should we find them now?
Gov.uk we can, but,
All right.
but it is a little bit of a grey area.
Let's have a look at them. When you
Yeah.
search the meaning of uninhabitable, you get all these blogs, but they have no authority.
Yeah.
Who is some blogger who says this is what it means? No, I'm going on the government website, gov.uk. And also, I'm going to put a link, by the way, below to the actual definition. So you can see that in the description if anyone's interested. So, got it. Uninhabitable dwellings.
That's
it's quite
it.
long, so I'm not going to be able to read the whole thing. But here's what it says. Examples of repairs, renovations, and issues that will not make a property unsuitable for use as a dwelling include, but are limited to. So hold on, is that saying it's uninhabitable or it's not?
Not uninhabitable. That will not make property uninhabitable.
Okay. So this doesn't count. The temporary
right.
removal of bathroom. So, or kitchen.
kitchen.
Right. You know this in your head,
I
don't
know.
you? So that won't make it uninhabitable. Substantial repairs.
Notice there, Samuel, substantial repairs. A
Yeah.
lot of people think the extent of the repairs will mean or will identify uninhabitable
Yeah.
or not.
Right.
Substantial repairs will not make it uninhabitable.
Right. So substantially is not the issue then. It says substantial repairs required to windows, roofs,
Ceiling,
or floors.
walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Replacement boiler or pipe work, unsafe electrical wiring, the need to switch services back on,
Yeah, that's right.
an infestation of pests. There's only a couple more.
Flood damage,
Yeah.
damp issues.
Damp.
There's a quite
Structural.
comprehensive...
You know these in your head. Structural defects that can be repaired or rectified.
can be safely repaired.
Yeah.
Right? So the property more or less needs to be derelict.
This is so subjective, though. It says a property might not be considered suitable for use as a dwelling, so this is uninhabitable. And then it says when any required repair, or renovation works mean that the property no longer has the fundamental characteristics of a dwelling.
That's
That
right.
is subjective.
And that's also very confusing. And you need to read it several times to even understand what it means, right?
And then it says there's a clear distinction between a derelict property and a dwelling that's in need of modernisation. So yeah, if you need to change the carpets, change the kitchens, that's not uninhabitable. So what is uninhabitable then? That's the question.
Well, that's a £1 million question, isn't it? There is no specific definition offered by the HMRC what's uninhabitable. But I guess the serious structural issues will make a property uninhabitable.
But it says here that structural issues that can easily be rectified are not. It's subjective language, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why is it so grey?
I don't know.
If they do that on purpose.
But don't you think then it becomes very important to remember it is self-assessment? So if I believe the property I'm buying is uninhabitable, put the good file together, take the pictures, serious structural problems with the property, get a survey report.
Yeah.
And that then instruct yourself. Don't ask, instruct your
All
solicitor.
right, let me ask you a question then. How many times do people claim it's uninhabitable? Is it often that the government then come back and say, prove it, no, that doesn't count, you need to repay? Is that quite common or not really?
Well, it is quite common for HMRC to get back to you, but don't accept, just because they send you a letter, if you in the first place believe it's uninhabitable, then to argue with them, appeal their decision, reply to the inquiries.
Right.
I mean, we bought the property, that 5-bed house that we converted into 6-bed HMO.
Yeah.
That was, we claimed that the property was uninhabitable, and that was fine. So we filed a 0 SDLT return.
Yeah.
And many of our clients do as well. They claim uninhabitable. Some of our clients, even leave previous solicitors to move to ask for our help because previous solicitors would not agree.
Yes.
To file
I've
a
had this.
0 SDLT return.
I've had this all the time, where a solicitor will just the property's uninhabitable. Or I had it when I'm buying before they scrapped the multiple dwelling relief. I was buying a property that was clearly multiple dwellings, and the solicitor was like, no. We need to pay normal stamp duty. I'm like, no, it's multiple dwellings. I have multiple dwelling relief. And they wouldn't do it. So in the end, I just fired that solicitor, went with a new one.
Change the firm, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. But it can be tricky because there's sometimes, if you're getting a mortgage, there's only so many, the solicitor has to be on the panel.
On the panel, that's right.
How do you get on the panel of lenders then? What's all this about?
Well, all solicitors need to be on the panel, and actually some lenders don't have a formal panel. They just require for the firm to have at least 2 or 3 partner qualified solicitors.
Yeah.
So, and if they do have formal panel, you just apply to them as you want to be on the panel with those particular lenders.
Okay, so you can apply.
Yeah, as a firm of solicitors.
So if the property is uninhabitable, that means it can't be used as a dwelling. It's totally unlivable.
That is the key.
Yeah.
It can't be. But you see, HMRC, literally, like you just said, literally a few paragraphs later in that guidelines, HMRC is saying if the property ever was habitable or lived in, they assume it is capable of being lived in again.
Yeah.
And that goes against property being uninhabitable. It is, at the end of the day, if I were to give like some practical advice, I would say put the file together. If it is uninhabitable, it probably needs to be in a pretty bad state, and have a surveyor's report. Serious structural issues will qualify, and then instruct your solicitor to file a 0 SDLT return.
Yeah. And then also, you're not completely exempt though, are you? Because if the property is more than, I think it's 250,000, there's still, again, there might be some stamp duty to pay. So if I'm buying a house that is uninhabitable, but it's 500,000, there's still going to be some stamp duty,
It depends if you're buying in your personal name or company name, actually.
Right, okay.
So if you're buying in a company name,
Yeah.
you need to be very careful, because if you're buying a property in a company name and the property value is 500,000 plus, you may be required to pay what we call annual tax on enveloped dwellings, ATED, which is basically a tax for it's an annual, every year you will need to pay it, as it's a tax to pay every year for the privilege of owning the property in the name of a company. So you need to be careful, because that's another £1 million question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do I buy in my personal name or do I buy in the name of a company? Well, it depends. And I know you always speak on that. You know, all lawyers always say it depends, but it really
does. No, it does depend.
It depends.
It does. And there's pros and cons to both.
Absolutely. Your personal circumstances, your personal income tax. Then if you buy in a company name, you will pay normal rates plus the surcharge.
What you really need to do is you need to find a good deal. And then you need to sit down with a solicitor or an accountant and the relevant people in your power team and your mentors and say, what are you saying?
Absolutely.
Where am I going to put this? Because if I offer on a property and the offer's accepted, and I say I'm buying it in my personal name, I can always change my mind. And a week later go, actually, I've had some advice, I'm buying it in my company. There's no problem. Unless I'm buying from auction, then you might need to decide beforehand. But generally speaking, you can switch it.
You can, because what happens is first, the whole process of conveyancing, right? And you will know it very well, is first, I would say, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, there will be a legal due diligence.
Yeah.
Well, it's only when you sign the contract and you set the date for completion, then you kind of can't really easily change the documents. But for the first 2-3 months, however long the process is, you can change your mind and you know decide. But absolutely, ask questions, ask advice from your power team, and be, depending on what you're buying, how much you're buying for, and then talk to the right advisors.
Well, there was a guy called Noah, who's, you probably know, Noah DeBoer, friend of mine, who was buying a property in London, and his plan was to buy it on a bridging loan through a company and then to refinance afterwards. But then when he joined the academy, he went, actually, number one, I'm not going to buy on a bridging loan. I'm just going to get a mortgage, because I can get a mortgage and then 2 years later I can refinance and I'm going to save on massive bridging costs. Number two, I'm not going to buy it in a company name because I'm going to save so much stamp duty. I think it saved him like 26 grand or something, just how he bought it. Instead of buying it this way, he's going to buy it this way, and he's saved him a fortune. And it also meant that because he's going to now what he's going to do is he's going to live in the property. It means that if he sells it, which he may do, he's going to pay no stamp duty at all. Sorry, no capital gains tax at all.
Capital gains tax, yeah.
So how you structure it, and this is why I think it's just important to have a good team around you. Let me ask you a question though. If someone's listening to this that's messed up, maybe they bought a property, they paid a bunch of stamp, and now they're thinking, maybe I didn't have to pay that. Can you claim the stamp duty back? And if so, how does that work?
You can, yes. You need to apply to HMRC with claiming a refund. So we're claiming a refund because in the first place we didn't have to pay the full amount or didn't have to pay at all. So yeah, you can claim the refund.
And how does it work?
It's literally an application to HMRC, and any property solicitor should be able to do that.
Right. And will they make you prove that it was uninhabitable though?
You will need to prove your case, right. Absolutely.
So if you bought a property that was uninhabitable, or not even uninhabitable, if you should have got multiple dwelling relief before they scrapped it, but you didn't, if you overpaid stamp duty for whatever which reason, maybe your solicitor's messed up, how long do you have to claim it back?
You will have 4 years. Claim 4 years. You can put a claim for refund to HMRC.
And I want to give you a shout as well, Tatiana, because so many people, I don't even know if, I probably don't tell you the stories as much as I should, but they've joined the academy and then they've sat down with you and you've said to them, oh, you overpaid on stamp duty 2 years ago. And they've claimed it back. They've got it successfully, sometimes even with interest, because the government will pay you interest.
That's right, yeah. Yep.
And that has paid for their entire academy membership.
Yeah.
Which is just mad, isn't it? That's like when people say, oh, the economy is really expensive. It's like, well, not if you're in the game.
Not really, no. I mean, if you think about it, right, the academy, I remember myself from the academy, that was already 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And those 12 months completely changed my life, as you know, and I've told you several times. I mean, I paid for the academy at the end of the first month on the academy.
Yes.
Because I sold that big deal.
Yes.
I didn't even know what deal sourcing was before I joined the academy.
Well, you came as a skeptical mom, right?
I did.
Because your son was interested in doing the training and you were like, oh, this doesn't, and you came down to see if it was legit, and ended up becoming a
For
customer.
£1 crash course it
Yes.
was, yeah. And I even remember exactly where I was sitting on that £1 crash course.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I think I told you the story. He actually did tell me, okay, you go for £1 crash course, but please don't sign up for anything. And of course, at the end of the day, of that one day, everything changed, and I signed up, and I'm so happy I did.
Yeah, and it's great, and it's also great that because when you were already a lawyer at the time, you ran your own law firm, but now you've integrated that into your own business, and it's
Oh,
fantastic.
absolutely. I mean, actually, it's a very good point, because being on the academy, being in the environment, having mentors on the other end of the phone, unlimited,
Yeah.
it doesn't just teach you, right, here's 4, 5, 6 strategies. It gives you a completely different look on business, how to run business, on business life, on investments, completely different.
Yeah.
You know, for the first time when I was in the academy, I thought, you know what? Even my law firm, which I already had it at the time, didn't really have a purpose. We now have a purpose to completely redefine traditional broken conveyancing process into exceptional property investing experience for every client.
Wow, that's incredible. And we need a shake-up. The industry needs a shake-up.
We do. That is actually genuine point. The academy taught me that.
Yeah.
You taught me that because you have a mission. You're on a mission.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't want to be just a businesswoman. I am on a mission now.
So your mission is to revolutionize the slow, broken way that conveyancing is done when you buy a house.
Absolutely.
It takes too long.
It takes too long. Obviously, I'm generalizing here, but if you go to possibly a small high street firm, you wouldn't get any replies immediately. There is no client care. Every buyer, every client, even if you buy residential property, you're still a property investor.
Yeah.
Because you're putting money into the property.
Yeah.
Every client, it needs to be systemized, it needs to be quick, it needs to be smooth, and every client needs to have an experience, not just, you know how people look at solicitors in this country, right?
Yeah.
Property solicitors, let's stop on property solicitors, right? They look at it as necessary evil.
Yeah.
And I don't want my business, my firm, to be looked at as necessary evil, but rather partners. You know, we and the clients are in partnership for that period of the process.
I love that. And you're right. Solicitors have a bad name generally because they're so slow, because they're so careful, and they're not creative. They don't make things happen. They're not problem solvers. They're problem finders. And that's why I love working with you.
Problem solvers. That's
problem solvers. Absolutely. Let's go back to stamp duty though. And I love that mission. I love getting behind that. I'm on the same mission. Developers.
Yeah.
So if you're a developer, what stamp duty tax are you paying then when you're doing property developments?
Okay.
As a trader?
Yeah, property trading. I mean, property trading relevant also to when you buy probate properties.
Ah, yes.
Now, that's an interesting sort of sector, and I appreciate, we can't go dive deep into all the details because, again, it depends on everybody's circumstances or buyer's circumstances. But if you buy probate property in the course of property trading, in the course of a business,
yes,
then you may be eligible not to pay SDLT.
So in other words, a property's been sold probate. What's probate mean?
Probate means if somebody died and now it's part of the estate and it's being sold by a personal representative.
Right, sure. So if it's a probate property, someone's passed away, it's been sold that way, and I'm buying it not to keep it, but to do it up and sell it.
Correct. Property trading.
Yes, then I may be exempt completely.
Completely exempt if certain requirements are satisfied. And
What?
I mean, again, like I will give you an example, but again, you can look on gov.uk website, a very good, credible website. But for example, the person who died, the deceased, lived in the property for the last 2 years before their death, one of the requirements. And then the land where the property is situated, you're buying, can't be a large plot of land. It can't be any more than half of hectare. And another requirement that comes to mind, just by way of an example, is that the property developer must not spend considerable amount on refurbishing the property. In fact, you spend, I believe it's up to 5% of the purchase price.
Oh, wow.
No
See,
more.
I didn't even know that.
No more than 5% of the purchase price, capped at 20,000.
There's so many.
Yep.
It's so complicated. Do you know what? They make it
Yeah.
complicated on purpose, I think, to stop people understanding it. So people just think, oh, whatever, and just
Yeah.
pay it. They make it so complicated. What's this 15% flat rate for developers?
Well, it's inaccurate, actually, 15%. And again, like with any terminology in the industry, people tend to use it interchangeably.
Yeah.
And sometimes they may even have the right answer in their head, but the way they say it is not actually accurate. So property developers, when they buy properties, they don't pay flat 15%.
How does it work?
In the name of the company. Now, only if you buy it for residential purposes and the value is 500K plus, you will pay flat 15%. Otherwise, it's certain rates plus surcharge. So depending on the value of the property.
But 15% is outrageous, isn't it? Do you know how much?
It's a lot.
Do you know how much stamp duty I had to pay when I bought this house? How much do you reckon? Well, you're going to know, aren't you? Because you're a freaking. This is what you do. So I paid. It was about 386 grand stamp duty when I bought this house for 3 million.
Well, I can give you, that's a lot
If
of
I
money,
bought it
isn't
now, it'll be
Yeah.
more. This was a few years ago. Now it'll be closer to 500,000 stamp.
Yeah. Do you know what the biggest stamp duty bill, let's say invoice, we paid on behalf of a client?
Go on.
Over £1 million. Over £1 million.
That's not even that much.
But the property was.
I paid almost 500,000. That doesn't. That's. I would have thought it'd be more than
I
that.
think it's a lot.
No.
£1 million stamp duty.
Yeah, it's a lot, but considering how many
a
clients
lot.
you have, I don't think. I thought it'd be more.
No, just one client, one purchase.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying
Yeah.
is that they must have bought the house for about 10 million.
Yeah, about 8. I think it was about 8.
Yeah,
8 million.
but that's not that. Considering you're based in London, that's pretty standard, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. It's a lot of money.
10 million. It's pretty standard. Maybe I'm just in a different world. Maybe I'm just in cloud. I tend to go on Rightmove and search most expensive because I'm like, I don't want
Yeah.
to look at the cheap houses, but that's a lot of stamp.
Yeah.
£1 million stamp duty because you're literally paying. Really, just for a stamp.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
that's what it used to be for, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just to say, yeah, it's on land registry. We've stamped it £1 million.
That's it, yeah.
And if the property's about 8 million, proportionally, because of the sliding scale, because
Yeah.
what is the highest threshold? Is it 15%?
15%, that's right.
That's outrageous, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't reckon it will stay like that. I reckon in about 5 years' time, we'll look back and we'll be shocked. I think they're trying to push people out. Right now, the elite companies are coming in, right? BlackRock, Lloyds, and loads of others buying all the properties. I think they're trying to decentivize. They're trying to exit landlords from the market with renters reform bills and all this stuff, and they're trying to disincentivize people buying second and third investment homes. And that's why I think that's why they're doing it. But
I mean, a lot of property developers also, not considering, and it's always been there,
Yeah.
buying companies rather than properties.
yes.
So that's another area in the industry.
And
that
then you're
a
going to
lot
pay
of people
0.5.
0.5,
Straight
right?
flat, 0.5%.
However, you need to still be careful because if you're buying a company, it's like a shopping bag. You're buying everything that comes with that company.
Yeah.
All the potential debts, liabilities, directors' loans, shareholders' loan, whatever have you.
Yeah.
But if you do your due diligence or your solicitor on the company, or if it's an SPV, it was only set up, special purpose vehicle, to hold the title to the property, then that obviously the stamp is then 0.5%.
And again, you need to go in and get legal advice because we were buying a property a few months back, and the seller asked if we wanted to buy the company and inherit the property and save on stamp duty. And it was a clean cut company. But the thing is, he bought the property for quite cheap, and we were advised that we would have inherited his capital gains tax bill. So if we then sold the property down the line, because so you do need legal advice.
You do, absolutely. It's like you said earlier, you need to build, if you are serious about being in property, having a property business, you need your power team. You need your accountant, tax advisor, solicitor, and ideally, core property investors themselves.
Yeah.
Because then they will
100%.
get you. They will get your pain.
You need an accountant that's in fact, there was an accountant on the academy, and I said to him, "What are your goals?" And he said, "Oh, just to grow my accountancy firm." And I said, "Okay. So are you wanting to get into property and do stuff?" And he said, "No, not really." He said, "I joined the academy because I've got quite a few property investors." And he goes, "I'm making a lot of money as an accountant. And I've got people coming to me with rent to rents and lease options. And I just wanted to understand the business so I can better advise my clients." And I thought, wow, that's a good accountant.
Yeah, it's a good accountant.
He will end up doing properties himself. He won't be able to resist.
No,
but that's smart. If more property professionals could think this way, imagine if like estate agents and people that, directors of estate agency firms and lawyers could join the academy, or not even join the academy, just come to a crash course at least, just to be like, okay, I get it. Now I get it.
Absolutely.
It would help a lot.
You need to understand your clients. You need to understand their pain and what's important to them. Like how many law firms out there, just property solicitor firms, right, that have no idea what lease option is?
Oh, yeah, so many.
I mean, no idea.
So many.
When we need to recommend or find an independent solicitor, because both the tenant, landlord who will become then buyer, seller, need independent legal advice in a lease option scenario. When we try and find independent lawyer to advise the seller, a lot of firms just saying, sorry, we don't, what lease option?
Yeah, or if they do it, because they don't understand it, they'll spend so much time and then they'll bill you more, because if you find a lawyer that understands the process, they'll just be,
and ask for unnecessary documents.
Yeah.
And I mean, the whole process just becomes a mess.
Yeah. Go back to stamp duty. Let's talk commercial. So commercial stamp duty, you're going to pay a lot less.
A lot less. Commercial and mixed use. Yeah.
What classes as commercial? So if you were buying a sui generis HMO, would that class as commercial?
But HMO is still a residential property.
Okay. So what do we mean by commercial?
Commercial.
What are we talking? We're not talking sui generis then.
No, we're talking about commercial shops, offices, laundrette. I mean, any commercial property in the sort of.
So if there's a shop, right, but above the shop there's flats.
Love that. Love that. Mixed use.
Let's say I've got 100 flats.
Yeah.
But then there's a shop at the bottom.
It can be as tiny as a broom cupboard. It would still be mixed use, low rates.
Boom. So there can be a broom cupboard.
Yep.
And then
I mean, not literally, but there's got to be
a tiny shop. I've seen this. There was a
tiny shop, a commercial element. In fact, that's how HMRC defines it, right? So it needs to be some commercial element to the property.
Yeah, so for example, if you've got a shop, let's say you've got a little newsagents, and above it you've got 3 floors worth of, and I've literally seen this, then it's going to be classed as mixed, because mixed is commercial and residential, and mixed you'll pay commercial rates, right?
Correct. Yes,
and
absolutely.
What are commercial rates?
Commercial rates, so up to 150 you pay 0.
Boom.
The next 100k you pay, is it 2%?
2%, I believe, yeah.
The next 100k is 2%.
Yeah.
And the balance is 5%. So maximum is
low.
5%.
So if you're buying something
to compare with 15%.
So 15 grand is how much you're going to pay if you buy a 250 grand house. However, if it's commercial, you're going to pay nothing for the first 150 and then 2%. So you're going to pay 2 grand.
That's right. Yeah. If it was commercial,
2 grand versus 15 grand.
Yeah.
Just because there was a little shop.
That's it.
To save a fortune. So basically then, the ways to save on stamp duty. Number 1, be a first-time buyer. Over and over and over again. Buy a house, do it up, sell it. Buy a house, do it up, sell it.
Well, you can't really do that.
Why?
Because first-time buyer, you need to be buying the property for the first time.
Yeah.
If you ever bought property already, you're not first-time buyer.
Are you sure?
I am positive.
If I'm moving home and selling, I can still claim the surcharge back.
You can if it's your main residential home,
Right.
And you sell it within 3 years.
Right. So going back to my initial point, I can buy a house, do it up, sell it.
Yeah.
Use the money to buy a house, do it up, sell it. I can just keep doing that. and I can keep claiming back the stamp duty.
Yeah, if you're replacing your main residential
Right.
home, you can.
Good, we agree. So that's one way.
Yeah.
Second way is buying commercial property or buying mixed use. Third way is buying uninhabitable properties.
Uninhabitable. That's right. Yeah.
Yes. So there's thing, and then the fourth way is buying a company instead of buying a
Buying
property.
shares in the company rather
Right.
than the property.
And you're going to pay 0.5% instead of 5%, which is a lot.
Yeah, or if you're buying a property from the estate.
Yes. Are you getting clobbered if you're coming overseas? So if you're buying as an international investor, are
Yes.
you getting hit higher? How much by?
Yes, we have a lot of international investors, and
I like that rule. I personally like that rule.
Yeah, when they buy properties, if you're not non-UK resident,
Yeah.
you pay additional 2%. I believe it's 2%.
Do you think that's good or bad? Because you're not even from the UK, so maybe you don't like it. I like it.
Why do you like it?
I like it because it stops people in London. We're flooded with overseas investors buying properties. The properties are empty, and they're just hoarding them. So you've got these really rich people from, the Middle East or wherever, or Russia even. I know you're from Russia.
Yeah.
Buying properties, and I think it will stop that happening. I think it will. And they're also talking about, I don't know if they've done this, but charging higher council tax, aren't they? When you just have a property sat there empty, I think.
They do now, yes, actually.
Which I think to disincentivize people, not to ban them, you can still do it, but it's just a slight premium. Because it's not. I don't think it's good for the economy. I don't think it's good for the country, for people. Not even overseas investors. I don't think it's good. Like I want to buy a house on the beach just for me. I don't want to rent it out. I just want to. And to be honest, it'll probably be empty. If I get penalised by having to pay a higher council tax because it's empty, so be it. I'll take it on the chin because I know, it's not really good to do that. To be honest, if you're just owning houses and they're just sitting there empty. If you're from overseas, even more, and you're just dumping money into the UK and it's just empty, I think it's good.
Okay.
You disagree there, don't you?
No, I'm not disagreeing, but
I
I
can
just
tell you
know
do.
how much pain it causes to our clients. I'm not disagreeing. I mean, you have a point.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do have to pay higher. I think I might even agree with you, but they do pay more SDLT.
But what I do think is a joke, though. I think they should pay higher, but having to pay 7% then they're paying. I think what stamp duty should be 0 in my opinion. I don't think they should disincentivize people from buying and selling houses. I think it's healthy and good, or at least very, very, very nominal. And then if they charged overseas people 2%, then anyway, there's no point saying what it should be. We can only learn the rules of the game and play the game to win. And Tatiana, I just want to say it's been a real honor having you on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
With Tatiana, I'll leave the details of her Instagram and website in the description so you can connect with her. Or even better, come to the Property Investors Crash Course and learn what to do. And when you end up ultimately on the academy, Tatiana is one of the mentors, so she'll be able to guide you, as well as our other mentors and experts on the academy. So be connected, come to a crash course, and subscribe for future videos like this. Thanks so much.